Standing on the rain-swept islands that pepper the mouth of what would one day be called Gotham River. Those families, the Waynes, the Cobblepots, the Elliots, the Arkhams, and the Kanes, would build a colonial fort together and sow the seeds of centuries of dominance in the area. Gotham City was born. In the early days, the Kanes established themselves on Gotham's natural harbour, now known as Historic Gotham, tying the family to their new country's military might.
They're giving us a whole lot of lore for Gotham.
By the 1850s, Gotham had become a major trade hub, helped along by the industrialist Cobblepots and their smoke belching.
Gotham lore is wild. All I know is that city's ruthless, bro.
Took hold of the 20th century's newest means of control, mass media, and built downtown Gotham.
Imagine living in Gotham, just trying to live, you know, trying to get by.
A patchwork of industry and architecture. The Arkhams settled in.
The best thing about Gotham, whenever Twitter talks about it, is like not too long ago they were doing the whole Batman. Imagine living in Gotham and then like you're late for work, so you had to jaywalk across the street, and then Batman just comes up behind you and beats your ass. Like them jokes are always funny to me.
Building their
the demon under the city.
And no, it's not as you've previously seen it. The Waynes, meanwhile, built their billions in New Gotham, helping advance the town into a new technological age. Which brings us to the present day, and the Gotham you'll be exploring as Batman's protégés in Gotham Knights, an open world as soaked in history as it is by neon lights.
They're talking about like the old Gotham, like they're gonna do like a game about it or something, like a side mission.
For a whole new version of Gotham City. And it isn't
you go back in time in this flashbacks?
To the gameplay, to the game's biggest mystery. The Court of Owls conspiracy. The team didn't just build an open world to play in, it's truly trying to build a city.
That's so crazy. And all of that just to play with 2 players. No.
Key to this take on Gotham are those 5 boroughs and the worldview.
Does it look, maybe it's dense, but it actually does not look big, because isn't Arkham City like way bigger? And there's like, because there's not a lot of like empty spaces over here. I know that's like water and rivers and shit, but maybe it's a lot denser.
Families that historically controlled them.
So for us,
depending on the series of Waynes,
you know, it started with the families. The families moved there. They built imposing structures within those districts. So then we build around that to where the identity for those districts really is based off of that family.
Within those boroughs, the team tries to tell stories without simply having someone speak them.
Shit, it sounds like mafia.
There's a lot of areas that are kind of stuck in time, you know, like even something is, you know, kind of generic as construction. Like it becomes interesting when it's halted construction, or it's now abandoned and overgrown.
I kind of hope that you see how it was going like down and there's like a basement area? If the game's more like this, where it's like more dense and like there's a bunch of areas like this like hidden, I think I might like it or enjoy it a bit more. The map didn't actually look that crazy from looking at the like
you know, all those things are more interesting for the
how big it was
than, you know, just a modern city.
I feel like families are the main characters. I hope they don't focus too much on lore stuff and forget about gameplay and fun things, you know?
How the city evolved.
I know some people will like this, but
the team has historical and gameplay basis for
I just want to play a fun game, bro.
Built into the Cobblepot's lower Gotham area.
We always would like to tell a story with every borough, and there's one specific one that is not necessarily related to the family, but is an effect of some of the projects that those families undertook, which was...
I've always liked Gotham's like verticality, like done in games, especially the Arkham games. Seems like this one's going in the right direction, and at least in the way they're building the city.
Attract workers for the mining.
I want to lore out, read the comics. Hey man.
It remained like actually
some people like it.
Unplanned streets, all set in the shadow of the more prosperous districts around it.
All right.
It's a distinct gameplay choice
okay,
too.
I'm liking it. It sucks. It's kind of like what I said earlier. Seeing all this stuff, I'll play this. Seeing all this stuff now, I just have like a part of me just like getting ready to be disappointed because I've seen the gameplay, you know, like the action gameplay, and hopefully they listen to the feedback.
Different neighborhoods that will give you different experiences.
This interplay of history and gameplay can be seen across the city.
It popped out. Are they in a simulation? This might be fire, but if the gameplay whack, cool world or nothing.
References like Noonan's sleazy bar from Garth Ennis's Hitman series.
Yeah, it could be. I like the little Easter eggs that they have in here. What kind of reminds me of this game is like after Avengers.
I think some of the SHIELD agents are afraid of you.
Me? I can't imagine why.
Well, they keep saying something about you stepping on them?
The Marvel Avengers game that Square Enix made, it's definitely, I was very hyped on that game, and like the way they did the world and instant stuff, like it was cool. Like I guess like the grinding, it's not for me, but it really, the combat and the gameplay felt way too simple, and I hope they add some depth into this game.
Gotham itself acts as an Easter egg in places. Perhaps most interesting is that this Gotham
Give me a reason to grind too, by the way, which I've been liking the customizations that the skins. That's almost more than enough for me to get into a game and grind, just to collect some
One of the things
drip.
I love about the Court of Owls, aside from the fact that, you know, that it's a new, fresh addition to the Batman canon, is that they represent a threat that is so embedded.
And honestly,
that
I hope they
even
do
Batman
Court of
doesn't
Owls
know
like
about.
justice.
And what we knew is that we needed to give you a sense of Gotham's history in order to be able to show all the ways in which the court is embedded in that.
Wow.
That feeling that Gotham is
Amazing.
kind of an adversary, and that Court of Owls is the embodiment of that, the personification of it.
Is this a raid?
Commonly used at the studio for this.
That should
is
look
that
like
they
a
didn't just build
Destiny
up
2
and
dungeon.
create, They also built down.
We started to imagine how the form of the city.
Okay, so it is what I thought. Well, hope for.
Going all the way back to like the late
The
60s.
sewers, right?
And then we started to think, okay, well, what were the major events in history that they would have reacted to? You know, is it the Revolutionary War? Is it the kind of exploitation of the West, like the building of the railroads? Like all of these ideas became part of
Like
the
what I'm
conversation
hearing, but I'm
and allowed
trying
us
not
to
to get
kind
too
of
hyped.
build what are the hidden secrets that you can find in the course of investigating?
All that tells me,
Naturally, the team
what
isn't
that
talking
really
too
tells me,
much.
we're gonna see what's his damn name? Not King Shark. Or is it King Shark? You guys know who the fuck. Crocodile Man or whatever the fuck. It's gonna come to mind now. I'm gonna be upset that I'm gonna remember it. Killer Croc. There we go. Killer Croc. Killer Croc. He gonna be underneath in the sewers and ready to beat your ass.
We want the Court of Owls to feel like they're involved in everything. If you were to go to a major city in North America, like often they'll build a city on top of another one. Like Chicago, like they had the fire, they just built on top of it because it's not worth like rebuilding, destroying and rebuilding.
That would be a cool random event. Yeah, you go underneath and then he choke slams you, and then it's a boss battle.
Things that you didn't know were there, that you didn't know the city was built on top of, and I think that's.
There better be like really good boss battles. They've only teased the Mr. Freeze one,
as well as seeing it from.
but I think we expect more.
The
Obviously,
result of all this work
Got
is that
some
this take on
really good
Gotham needs
villains.
to feel like a legitimate place, not just a sandbox for spandex crime fighting. We've heard before that this will be the largest Gotham ever made in game form, but that's not what the developers are proud of.
We made a very big Gotham City, but what I think is really unique
they're not-
about Gotham Knights is the density of it. Sometimes
Okay.
I will be searching for something or fighting a crime and not realize how
like what I'm hearing.
close to me something else is happening that I'm going to want to interact with afterwards or before. There's just such a depth of nooks and crannies to explore.
What game was like this? I want to say Cyberpunk, but that I feel like people are gonna get scared when I say that. Even though Cyberpunk was very dense of a city.
With real backstory, that it's not just the people.
That's the only one I could like
that
think
tell
of.
the story, but the city itself. Gotham has been many things to many people. It's appeared in comics, movies, and gaming worlds. It's been reinvented repeatedly, traveling through time with us from block color 40s issues of Detective Comics to the grey monoliths of Christopher Nolan's trilogy. But all of those versions of Gotham have been snapshots of a city in its current form. Perhaps the most interesting thing about Gotham Knights version is that we won't just see the city as it is, but hopefully
We'll see it. It was.
being.
Oh, what? Damn. Thought I was gonna get it.
Bring
I'm not
Gotham
gonna lie
Knights
to you. I
and
was not expecting to watch that whole video and be interested, but they somehow did it. They somehow found a way me be interested in the lore, and I like what I see from the city. I don't know why. I don't think I have. We've seen glimpses of like Gotham, right? Like other gameplay stuff when they're on the rooftops and whatnot. But when they zoom out and like they show you the map and they're like walking through the alley, like this place there, like right here, they're showing like the verticality stuff. I actually do like the design of the city. It makes me a little bit more excited, but I'm still going to keep my expectations low. Get ready to be disappointed, because if I'm not disappointed, it'll be a great freaking game. Honestly, I just want a good Gotham game, good Batman game. You know what? You know what was my other theory? At the end of the game, they're gonna save Batman, and then you're gonna unlock him to like play as him, unless he's like really gonna die, which I doubt. I actually don't think he's dead. I don't think anyone thinks he's dead. Maybe he is. I don't know. Who cares?